Welcome to Custom Home Builder Solutions, also known as CHS, a job costing, full accounting, and profit management software for the professional home builder. In this particular video, we are going to talk about something called it's actually the actual job cost database. And I will show you reasons for using a database. We do have several actual job cost reports just for one job and where you can compare unit prices, etc., which we will go over in the next video. In fact, I'll just jump there real quick where it's budgets and then our demo job, this one. And if you look way over here, here's actual, and by actual it means job costs that have been posted to your accounting database. As payables, bills, various things that go to your actual accounting. In other words, they're paid or going to be paid. It represents drawing those out of your accounting database. And when I click this button, you'll see that there's costs and revenue detail, actual job costs, reports per square feet of your top 6 priority measures, vendors to use, etc. But we will come back to that in the next video. I just wanted to make you aware of that. There's a reason that we also have what is called an actual cost database. And if you'll remember from previous videos, the way that CHS goes through your accounting database and searches for actual job costs is by looking for all entries that have a job code and a cost code other than 0. If you're worried that some costs have not been posted as job costs that will show up in these actual job databases, I've gone home, and you could open this button to open your accounting ledgers menu, which would open some databases of all your accounting records. In this case, I've put in GL dates from the earliest date of my accounting database to the latest, and I've selected this job, our demo job, and I've selected cost codes 0 to 0. In other words, I want to see all records in my accounting database that are not marked as job costs by having a cost code other than 0. And this is a way you can check to make sure you didn't overlook when you were entering bills, although CHS is pretty good about warning you about that, that you didn't overlook putting a cost code other than 0 in a job cost entry. So you could look at all entries that have a 0 cost code and have this job code, and I can see that all these were done on the deposit window and that they're part of draws, that kind of thing, or sales tax we collected, or whatever it was, and this was a profit transfer. None of these are job costs that I forgot to put a cost code on. So that's a quick way to check if you're concerned about whether you might have posted some things that really are job costs to your accounting and you forgot to put a cost code on it. So let's go back to the actual job cost menu for the database. We have 2 choices. One is to open the full job cost database, and what that can be handy for, that would be all records that have a cost code other than 0 with a job code other than H. And you could search for, say, everything that's been posted for a plumbing cost code and have multiple jobs as you need. You'll see some of those search features as we go in. I'm going to go ahead and open the big actual job cost database that brings all records in my accounting database that are marked for job costs into one database. Now you can see here that we only have 228 records, which isn't very many because this is just our demo and we don't have very many job costs posted, but you can see here they're sorted by cost code, and it says the cost code title, by job code, and by database we mean there are separate searchable fields, like for the job, for the cost code, for the vendor. So say you wanted to look up how much you'd ever paid some vendor for job costs, you could do that with your search features. Let's see some vendor that just shows up here like Big Bucks. So let's do a search here for just everything over here under vendors, and if right here I started typing BIG, it would move to that. While your cursor's on the no selection, you can see how it did that. And I will submit this search. Now you can see that I only see 3 records for Big Buck, and I can see what I've paid them, this amount on this job only these amounts, lot clearing and erosion control so far, on our demo job. And if you do reports on this database, they will be based on your search results. So if you do job cost by cost code, then job, you can see this cost code 1210 lot clearing, that there's one for Vista View, another one for Vista View under erosion control, and then another one for footings and foundations down here, and the total. But what you can see is your filters down at the bottom. Vendor, big buck. You can filter it down even more with various searches, but if you open your search, clear your search field, maybe you want to see everything that's been paid for the group that plumbing is in. That's the group, not the cost code. There's several cost codes under the group of plumbing, and I just wanted to see all of those for some reason. We do have some great windows for also looking at averages and selected jobs averages for a group, which I'll be going over a little bit later, and not in this video. This is just showing you how you have this big database and you can search for all kinds of things that you want. Here's rough plumbing, bills you've paid, who you paid, final plumbing, and information, that you can see. The other things you might want to look for is, let's do a search. Let's clear our search fields. Let's just look for our demo job. And maybe I'd like to look for ones, job cost entries that were not posted with a PO for whatever reason. There's just different reasons. And you'll see PO column here. If I do search and I say ones that did have a PO attached, you'll see that here, yes, yes, yes. And if you click on these, it will open the purchase orders so that you can see. Let's open a bigger purchase order type thing here. So you can see the purchase order and some handy information that goes along with the cost code and the job, which is the estimated cost at completion under information over here. And we've gone over that kind of thing in the POs and in the estimated cost at completion. But you can see how this particular cost, framing labor for this particular job, Vista View, is estimated to be over the budget by $264 right now. So you can see lots of information right here. You can see POs versus costs. This is POs compared to costs for the cost code 3150 and this job. There's a lot of information just on the PO window that you can see if you like. Something else you might like to look for, this is refreshing because there's so much drilling down I could do from that PO. But something else you might look for is, if you'll notice over here, there's something called a draw number. I don't think there's been any draws done. He didn't use draws on the DeGroot job, but you can see that by these are all 99s. That means these have not been included on a cost plus draw. These draw numbers do go with cost plus draws because cost plus draws will bring in your actual job costs, and they will know whether they've been prior drawn by the fact that they have a number less than 99 or if they need to be drawn by the number 99. The one thing you could do is search for a particular job. Let's just clear our search. We'll search for a particular job and draw number 1 so that we can see all the costs that were included on a particular draw have been marked that they were drawn on draw number 1. Now over in our draw request features menu screen, etc., you can pull up a list of all the draws, and right there you can get a list of all the actual costs that were drawn included on that particular draw. The reason for a markup field on each of your actual cost records, and you'll see that field when you enter a bill, is that cost plus markup will use this cost plus a markup percent to do the drawing. And it will look, when you enter a bill, it will look to the budget for the markup percent for that cost code on the budget and drop it in as a default, but it can be overwritten while you're entering the bill. So there's a chance you might have some different markup percent than what you put on the budget. We put 25% on all our budgets, so that's what's been dropping into our bills. watch the information about posting bills and about draw requests. But that's the reason for this. And you could search for any records that perhaps is clear this draw field. Perhaps we put a zero markup on by accident, or we didn't put our markups in until later, so there's no records, so we feel okay about that. We can clear our search fields. The other thing, it might be a certain job manager that's assigned to different jobs might only want to see jobs, job database for jobs assigned to that project manager for whatever reason. So we just selected George Brown. That project manager is on both the DeGroot and VistaView, so they're seeing all the records for that. Could narrow down and search for all kinds of things. But let's take a look at these reports just really quickly, but I'll give sample reports. This one is job cost by cost code, then job. So that means it's everything we searched for, which is that George Brown project manager. You'll see the you'll see the cost code, and then job DeGroot, job this, and it'll show you the detail of that kind of thing. If you go to the bottom, you'll see your filter is that the job manager is George Brown, and the total of all those costs for jobs for George Brown. We didn't narrow it down any more than that. Let's do a search for. Let's clear our search. Just do a search for our VistaView again, just to keep it simple, and just for the vendor ABC Foundation. We just want to real quickly see what we paid ABC, so we do a report. We can do by job, then by cost, and this is by job first and then by cost, so it'd be all the costs for one job, then you'd start another job farther down, but you can see the detail. This is unpaid, this is unpaid, this has been paid. So if you need to pull a report real quickly for one vendor on one job, you can see job equals that and vendor equals that, etc. Another report, if you notice this one that we did, we are grouping by the vendor, and maybe we don't want to do that, especially since we just asked for one vendor when we did our search. So we could get rid of that little grouping by vendor thing because we don't need it when we just asked for one vendor. So we just want to see how much in each cost code we paid that vendor. So that's all the difference that there is in that report. Let's clear this search. Let's leave the same VistaView, but let's have no selection for vendor. And let's say we're just interested. If you've watched other videos, you might be interested in costs that you've posted just through a certain job stage. And if you've watched other videos about setting up job stages, and then attaching those to cost codes, that's how CHS knows which stage of a job that a job is in, or what cost codes go in what stages, or can group by stages. So let's say we're about in stage 3 and we just want to see all the costs less than or equal to a certain stage number. And please don't overlook all these search tips down here for various things that you can just type in, or symbols that you can use to get some things that you're needing. I also have some videos about how to do most all of that. But this will be less than or equal to stage 3. That's what the symbols are that you use for that. And I'll submit a search. Now if you'll notice the stage numbers over here, it's only 23 records rather than 29 that we had, and you'll notice they only go up through stage 3. If you do a report and you are being interested in what costs have been posted for certain stages, you can do this by job and then stage. So you'll see that first under this job there's stage 0 and all the costs that have been posted for stage 0, and it comes down here and totals those and shows how much percent of the total posted so far has been for that stage, how much has been for stage 2, and how much has been for stage 3 of these totals so far. We we've been posting bills just all out of order, so pay no attention to whether these totals make any sense. This is not a real job. This is just a job where we've been doing a demo. And the last report that you have here is a spreadsheet report. And by spreadsheet, we mean it's going to strew out across a legal size and show you all kinds of information, like the date that it was created, the date it might have been changed, who the manager is, the job status, the PO, yes, no, all these things, the quantity, unit price, a lot more detailed information than the other reports. And you probably want to export that to PDF. It's easier for one thing to look at. And when you print it, you can make some choices about, like if you do your print key here, you can make some choices about setting this to landscape and page setup. You might be selecting legal here before you print it. I'm not going to do that because I'm not going to print it right now, but you can see how it gets better. You also can see on the last page of this report, whoops, I need to go to the last page, where you can see what filters I had. I had stage code less than or equal to 3 and the job vista view. But perhaps that gives you some good idea of why we have the big database for you and not just reports, so you can do all kinds of searching. If there's been a bill attached, which I made up some here, you'll see a little paperclip icon, that the bookkeeper might have attached a bill. This really isn't for that. This is just some random check ordering bill I had. I was just demoing how you upload various bills. This pencil edit icon is here so that you can edit a record if you need to. Maybe you need to change a cost code or something about it. There will be some rules and some information about why you can't change a cost code. For one thing, if a PO was attached, this would be dimmed. I have several videos about how to handle all of that if you need to change a cost code and ways you can do it, especially going to the POs and cost management window to do some of that. But you'll see under help here that I have a section for quickly review and edit job costs and spot errors, how to correct them, how to change the cost code on actual cost if CHS is preventing it. But I do show you how to take care of that on those videos, so we won't take a lot of time doing that. But that's with the pencil edit. You might be able to do some editing of the description or the cost type or some things like that on that. You can do a much more heavy-duty editing of accounts payable records, and that's what most all of these are. You can see the journal is AP by going to the vendor ledger of accounting transactions. You'll be a higher level accountant where you can do some more editing of that kind of thing. Now let's go back to our menu where we open this big actual cost database. If I'm just interested in looking at things for one job, you should use option 2 and get that database narrowed down to just one job. Then you won't have to keep reselecting it for searches or something. And by the way, if you do a search, and let's say we just are looking for a search for ABC Foundation, you can search for things for exact amount of the bill, what GL numbers you posted things to, all kinds of things, a check number that was paid, and see all the entries for that. But if I submit a search for ABC Foundation, then I happen to do clear search and refresh or some other function, it's going to remember the last search I did too. So if I do resubmit search, if I say, oh, I didn't want to refresh, I can get back those records just for ABC. Reports are exactly the same here, and part of the filter is that they are filtered to that job that you selected. And it's quicker to open this because it's just the bill, just the job cost for just one job. Then there's a quick report right under here that will be dimmed until you select this. That's just in case you want to come in here real quickly. You want to just get a job cost report for that job. This report will show you the description, GL, paid date, check number, the cost, and the markup percent, and the marked up amount. In case you're just wanting to get a quick job cost report for that cost plus markup customer, this might be a good one that you do give them, that shows them the markup and the costs. That's why that's just there real quickly. And it tells you to go for other reports to the place that I showed you at the beginning of this video for some other reports, which we will be doing in the very next video. So thank you for watching this. I hope that you understand what a database is and how we are pulling records from your accounting database that are job costs based on the fact that they have a cost code other than 0, and that you can use multiple search features to get the various kinds of reports you might need out of that database. And thank you for watching.